Canada's Privacy Commissioner has criticized Home Depot. The commissioner was presenting findings of his investigation into the retail giant's use of customer data. Home Depot has admitted that since 2018, when customers ask for an electronic receipt, the company would share those email addresses with Meta, which operates Facebook, and that Home Depot did so without asking customers' consent.
Home Depot sent these email addresses in a coded format along with high-level details about each customer's in-store purchases to Meta, who would then use this information to determine if a customer had a Facebook account. If they did, Meta would compare the person's in-store purchases to Home Depot's advertisements sent over the platform to measure and report on the effectiveness of those ads. Meta could also use the information for its own business purposes, including user profiling and targeted advertising that was unrelated to Home Depot. While each email address that Home Depot shared with Meta was encoded so that it could not be read by individuals at Facebook, Meta employed an automated process that allowed it to match email addresses attached to individual Facebook accounts.
So, what do customers think of Home Depot's actions? Do they even know their information might be shared? Well, CBC went to Home Depot in Toronto for a reaction.
We're trusting them, buying their stuff, and we're giving them our private details. And if they're going ahead and sharing it without our concern or without informing us, it's a backstabbing.
I'm very cautious with how personal information is shared now. So that's why I did it at first, but then as you hear more about things like this, it's like, no, I'd rather opt not out of it.
I don't think any of us read those five-page disclaimers to tell you exactly what they're doing with it. We're busy. We just think we're getting a receipt, so we're completely unaware of it.
I'm sitting there nodding when I'm listening to that fella. So for more on this and what happens to this information, let's bring in Ritesh Kotek. You know him. He's a cybersecurity and technology analyst. Comes on here often with us. Ritesh, welcome to the program again today.
Thank you for having me.
So you heard those people talking there. Basically, you know, they say, yes, send me that receipt. But nobody seems to know what's happening after this is shared.
Yeah, and why does the onus fall on individuals to know how that information is being shared? I always say, let's put on our reasonable person hat. And what a common person would think. If I go to a store and look, I'm all for paperless, right? And you opt into getting these e-receipts, it's great. I lose paper all the time, so I lose these receipts. Returns are a bit of a nightmare for me. But here's the thing is when you get those receipts, you're thinking that they're only using it for that sale purpose, the commercial purpose. At no point do they tell me, actually, are you okay with us sharing that, sharing your information? Unlike when you sign up for newsletters or something like that. And it's just people are like, if you're going to use my data, tell me you're going to use my data, obtain my consent, just don't go behind my back.
So just don't go behind my back. That's a good one, Ritesh. But they are going behind our backs. Is there any type of repercussions that could happen for them? Like, our information is valuable to us.
Absolutely. Data is kind of like has monetary value. I always say it's the new oil, it's the new fuel, right? And that's the reason for it. Now, it's also important to understand is why did they actually give this to Meta or Facebook to be in particular? And that's because they spend all this money on advertisement, and these are called offline conversions. They want to see if the ads that you get online mean that you actually go into a store and purchase, and what are you purchasing, so they can hyper target. Well, Facebook is free. These e-receipts are free. And I always say, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product in this case. And Facebook and Meta, they make their money through advertising. So they're going to do everything they can to get data, to profile the user so they can hyper-target messages. So it seems like this is exactly what's happened here.
So here's a dumb question. So did Facebook or Meta go to Home Depot, or did Home Depot offer this up? How does that work?
Probably both. It's probably both, right? These conversations that vendors have, if you're the platform, you're saying, look, if you provide us with this information, we'll tell you how accurate we're able to target and better target. Oh, and by the way, we'll do it for a fraction of the cost if you let us keep this data so we can use it for, again, hyper targeting ads for for other organizations. So it seems like a win-win from a vendor perspective, being Home Depot, and from for Meta's perspective, because it's even harder now to collect data because a lot of applications have put, do not track me type features on there, which has been a huge hit to advertising revenue for Meta and Facebook. So I think it's joint here. You can't put the blame on Home Depot, and you can't only put the blame on Meta. It is joint. They should have both known better. Okay,
what if I want my information back?
Yeah, well,
can you do that?
Well, technically, there is legislation around the world that's called, the right to be forgotten, or the right of erasure. Understanding what a company actually has on you, asking them to delete it. Is it accurate? So technically, you can always request that your information be deleted. But again, that's good luck. Yeah, it's kind of a huge gray area.
Let me just talk about this. The investigation found, and this is what their excuse was, by the Privacy Commission, that Home Depot relied on implied consent, that its privacy statement kind of let customers know how their information is used. But this was rejected as adequate. Fair?
Fair. They also said that there's consent fatigue. No, this is people's data and information. You can't stick something in size 8 font on your website when somebody's actually at the store and you ask them for a do you want a printed receipt, or do you want us to email it to you for that person at that point to say, hold on, let me go read your terms and conditions. It just doesn't seem logical. So no, I don't buy that idea of implied consent in this case, and neither did the Privacy Commissioner.
Do you think other companies are doing this?
Absolutely. I'm certain that other companies are doing this, and this is a wake-up call that privacy is important. It's a fundamental right. It's actually Privacy Week this week, and I think that it's important that companies really look at the systems that they're leveraging. They do their audits and look, just get consent, right? Be open and transparent, because on the flip side is users and individuals are going to feel betrayed, as we heard from individuals that you interviewed.
Absolutely. Ritesh, always great to chat with you about this stuff. I always learn something.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, Ritesh Kotek is a cybersecurity and technology analyst and joined us from Ajax, Ontario.